The third time my mother fell, I was on a conference call, pretending I was not a 42-year-old woman whose life could be derailed by a single phone vibration. My cell lit up with "Mum, home." I looked at the name, at the little house icon I'd set for her, and I did what I always do first. I let it ring. "Sorry, that's just my mum," I said into the headset, forcing a laugh. "She forgets I work from home now." Everyone on Zoom smiled politely. My phone stopped buzzing. I exhaled. We went back to talking about quarterly numbers and the new software rollout. 15 minutes later, my phone rang again. This time, the caller ID said, "Unknown number." Something in my stomach clenched. I muted myself, picked up. "Hello?" "Is this Sarah Whitman?" a man's voice asked. "Yes." "This is Officer James with the Springfield Police Department. Are you the daughter of Elaine Whitman?" The room shrank. "Yes," I said. "Is she okay?" "She's conscious," he said, "but she fell on the front steps. A neighbour called 911. The paramedics are here now. They're recommending we take her in to be evaluated because of her age and history of falls." My heart started pounding so loud I could barely hear him. History of falls. "Yes, of course," I said. "I'm on my way. Tell her I'm on my way." I hung up. On my laptop screen, my boss was still talking, PowerPoint slides flipping by like nothing had happened. I unmuted. "I'm sorry," I said. "I have to go. My mother fell. Again." Their faces shifted from polite to concerned. "Go," my boss said. "We'll catch you up later." I grabbed my keys, my purse, and the guilt that lives permanently in my chest these days. My mother is 78. She has lived in the same split-level house in the suburbs of Ohio for 47 years. She raised me and my brother there. She buried my father from there. She has a garden that she loves more fiercely than almost anything on earth, except her grandchildren and her idea of independence. She wants to age at home. She has said that phrase so many times it might as well be engraved over the front door. "I want to age at home, Sarah," she told me after Dad died. "I am not going to a nursing home. I am not going to assisted living. This is my house. I will stay here until the good Lord says otherwise." At the time, I nodded and said something useless like, "Of course, Mum, we'll make that happen." I didn't understand what I was promising. Now, as I drove to the hospital for the third time in 6 months, I understood a lot more. I understood the way your heart stops every time your phone rings and it might be bad news. I understood the way you start counting the little things. How many times she forgot her pills this week. How often she repeats the same story. How steady she looks when she stands up. I understood, though I hated the words, that my mother might need assisted living long before she was willing to admit it. And I understood that in her mind, that meant one thing: being abandoned. At the ER, I found her on a gurney behind a curtain, in a hospital gown, hair flattened on one side, lipstick smudged. She looked small. My mother was never small. She was one of those women who filled a room by sheer force of voice and personality. Now her wrists looked fragile against the white sheet. "Hey," I said softly. "It's me." She turned her head. "Well, this is ridiculous," she announced loudly. "Tell them I don't need to be here." Her voice was still big. I felt my shoulders drop half an inch in relief. I moved closer, touched her arm. "What happened?" I asked. "Nothing," she said, rolling her eyes. "I tripped. Those front steps are cursed. They keep moving." A nurse poked her head in. "Hi, Ms. Whitman," she said. "We're just waiting on your CT results, okay? Make sure there's no head injury." "I'm fine," Mum said. "I have a thick skull. Ask my daughter." The nurse smiled at me sympathetically. We just want to be careful, she said. When she left, Mum lowered her voice. Honestly, some people act like 78 is ancient, she said. I walk, I garden, I go to book club. I am not some frail old lady. I took a breath. Mum, I said carefully, this is your third fall. She waved a hand. Everybody falls, she said. You fell off your bike when you were 8. We didn't put you in a facility. I swallowed. This is different, I said. You're forgetting things. You told me last week you missed your blood pressure meds for 3 days. You left the stove on. Her eyes flashed. Are you my daughter or my parole officer? She snapped. There it was, the script we keep falling into. I, the worried adult child, she, the defensive aging parent. Mum wants to age at home, I thought. I think she needs assisted living. And between those two sentences is a canyon full of guilt and fear and the entire broken elder care system in America. The doctor came in before I could answer. Good news, he said, scanning the chart. No fracture, no brain bleed, just some bruising. You're lucky, Miss Whitman. See, she said triumphantly. I told you, thick skull. He smiled, then looked at me. How many falls is this? He asked. I hesitated. Third, I said, in 6 months. He nodded. And you live alone, Miss Whitman? He asked. Yes, and I've done just fine, she said. He looked at me again. You her primary contact? He asked. Yes, I said. I'm her daughter. I live about 20 minutes away. I have 2 kids. I added that last part as if it explained something. It often does. He sighed, the kind of sigh I imagine doctors make 100 times a week. We'll discharge her today, he said. But I have to say this, you should consider some kind of support. Assisted living, home health, at least a home safety evaluation. 3 falls in 6 months is a pattern. It's not just clumsiness. My mother bristled. I am not going to a nursing home, she announced. I am not going anywhere. I will age at home. Period. The doctor didn't argue. Most of them don't, I've noticed. They don't have time. He just nodded and handed me a stack of papers. Let us know if you have questions, he said quietly. I know this is hard. You're not the only family going through it. On the top sheet, in a list of follow-up recommendations, I saw the words, consider assisted living or higher level of care if falls continue. My throat tightened. On the drive back to my mother's house, she sat in the passenger seat, chattering about how silly the whole thing was. I told them, I said. I have to get home. My tomatoes need me, she said. They acted like I was talking nonsense. I gripped the steering wheel. Mum, I said, we have to talk about how you're going to live safely. At home or somewhere with help. We can't keep going like this. She turned to look at me. Her eyes were suddenly sharp, clear. We are not putting me in assisted living, she said. I am not a burden. I am not baggage you need to drop off somewhere. My eyes stung. That's not what this is, I said softly. Isn't it? She shot back. And just like that, we were at war. Me, the daughter who thought assisted living might be necessary. Her, the mother who would rather risk another fall than risk losing her house, her independence, her dignity. Somebody should write a guidebook for the sandwich generation on how to survive that war. Until they do, this is mine. Chapter 2. Aging in Place, on Paper. If you asked my mother, She would tell you she has a plan. The plan is called Aging in Place. She watches a lot of morning shows and reads the AARP magazine cover to cover. She quotes things like, "Most seniors prefer to age at home." She says it like a rallying cry. Her plan, as she explains it, goes like this. I stay in my house, you check on me, maybe we get one of those medical alert bracelets, I hire some kid to mow the lawn, I go when I go. Very simple, very romantic. It looks lovely on paper. On paper, I am not a full-time working mum with 2 kids under 10, a mortgage, a husband whose job is never secure, and a permanent tightness in my chest from juggling too many things. On paper, I am an only child. In real life, I have a younger brother, Mark. Mark lives in Seattle. We live in Ohio. He has a demanding job in tech and 2 teenage boys. He calls Mum every Sunday like clockwork and says things like, "You're doing great, Mum. You're still sharp as a tack." He doesn't see her shuffle when she gets up from the recliner. He doesn't smell the burned pan from when she forgot the soup on the stove. He didn't stand in the ER hallway that night, listening to the doctor say, "Third fall," in that careful, neutral tone. "We can get her more grab bars," Mark said on the phone after the last fall. "Non-slip rugs, maybe one of those door cameras so you can see her." "We have grab bars," I said. "We have non-slip everything. She still trips." "Well," he said, "people fall." That phrase again. People fall. People also die from complications of falls. I didn't say that. He's my brother, not the enemy. The enemy, if there is one, is the space between my mother's belief that she is still the woman who hiked the Grand Canyon at 50 and the reality that she gets winded going up the stairs now. The enemy is an elder care system where assisted living costs more than most people's mortgage, but provides less medical care than you'd think. The enemy is a culture that says, put them somewhere safe, and another culture, the one my mother lives in, that whispers, good daughters keep their mothers at home. I live at the intersection of those cultures. At work, we talk about things like caregiver burnout and capacity issues in assisted living facilities. We use phrases like aging population and system strain. At home, my mother says, I raised you. The least you can do is let me die in my own bed. It is very hard to argue with that when you remember her sitting up all night with you when you had the flu at 8, when she worked overtime to buy you a prom dress, when she held your hand during your messy divorce at 30. I want her to age at home. I also want her not to lie on the floor for 3 hours because she couldn't reach the phone. Those two wants are currently wrestling in the ring of my brain, and nobody is winning. Chapter 3. The signs we pretend not to see. Once you start looking for decline, you see it everywhere. You also see all the ways you've been ignoring it. My mother has always been scatterbrained in certain ways. She misplaces her keys. She forgets names. She tells the same story twice. It's part of my charm, she says. But lately it's more than that. It's misplacing her keys in the refrigerator. It's calling my daughter Lily by my name, then by my aunt's, then giving up and saying, you know who you are. It's leaving the oven on after she takes out the casserole. I'm just distracted, she insists. I have a lot on my mind. She does have a lot on her mind. Loneliness is heavy. Grief is heavier. She still talks to my dad, whose urn sits on the mantel. I told your father, she says, when I come over. He agrees with me. I'm not moving. I look at the urn and wonder what he would actually say. He was practical. He would have read the pamphlets. Yes, we have pamphlets. They started accumulating on my kitchen counter after the second fall. I didn't go straight to assisted living. I started with in-home care. I Googled phrases like how to help mum age in place safely and home health versus assisted living and Medicare, what does it actually cover? I made a list. Grab bars, check. Non-slip mat, check. Medication organizer, check. She had those. Then, medical alert bracelet, home health nurse visits, companion care. I brought it up gently one night over dinner at her place. The house looked the same as always. The floral curtains, the photos on the wall, the well-worn rug in the hallway that I now see as a hazard instead of a comfort. Mum, I said, what would you think about someone coming in a few times a week to help? Not a nurse, just a helper. Make sure you take your meds, maybe help with laundry, that kind of thing. She stabbed a piece of broccoli with unnecessary force. I don't need a babysitter, she said. It's not a babysitter, I said. It's support, so you can stay here and be safe. She shook her head. No strangers in my house, she said. Next you'll be telling me to get one of those cameras so you can spy on me. I sighed. Mum, those cameras are for emergencies, I said. What if you fall again? I'll get up, she snapped. I always do. I thought about the time the neighbour called because she heard banging and found my mother on the porch steps. Mum, I said softly, you didn't get up this time. They had to call 911. She glared at me. Whose side are you on? She asked. There is no good answer to that question when you are a caregiver. I am on the side of your safety. I am on the side of my sanity. I am on the side of your dignity. I am on the side of the healthcare professionals who keep saying, this is not sustainable. I am standing in the middle of all those sides, and my legs are starting to shake. The next time we saw her primary care doctor, I asked him, in front of her, to talk about home care. Mrs. Whitman, he said, fall risk is serious. Home health or assisted living could help you maintain independence longer. She stiffened. I told you, she said, I am not going to assisted living. I'm not saying you must, he said patiently. I'm saying we should look at options. If you want to age at home, we need a plan. You live alone. Your daughter has her own family. You're asking a lot of her. Her eyes flashed. I'm not asking anything, she said. I didn't ask her to move in. I'm taking care of myself just fine. The doctor gave me a look that said, I see you. I know you're carrying this. He handed me a brochure when she went to the bathroom. It said, Supporting aging parents. When is assisted living the right choice? I put it in my purse like contraband. I drove my mother home. I helped her up the front steps. I watched her take off her shoes and put them in the wrong closet. I went home to my kids, who needed dinner and homework help, and a mum who wasn't mentally tallying her own mother's near misses. That night, after everyone was asleep, I took out the brochure. Every sentence felt like it was written about us. You may feel guilty even thinking about assisted living. You may feel like you are failing as a daughter. Remember, safety and dignity can go hand in hand. I cried quietly at the kitchen table so I wouldn't wake anyone up. I am not ready to put my mother in assisted living. I am also not ready to find her on the floor again. Those two truths sit next to each other like heavy stones, and neither of them moves. Chapter 4. The Assisted Living Brochure Incident. The worst fight we ever had started with glossy paper. I did not mean to wave it at her like a flag of surrender. I meant to bring it up calmly. I meant to say, Mum, can we just look at options? We don't have to decide anything today. Instead, I walked into her kitchen with the brochure still in my hand because I'd been reading it in the car, and she saw the words before I could tuck it away. Assisted living community, the cover said, over a photo of smiling seniors at a table that looked nothing like my mother's. She snatched it from me. "What is this?" she demanded. I froze. "Mum," I started. "It's just assisted living," she read. "Tour our facility, 24-hour staff, secure memory care unit." She looked up at me, eyes blazing. "Memory care?" she snapped. "You think I belong in memory care now?" "No," I said quickly. "I just took whatever pamphlet they had. It's not about that. It's about options." She slammed the brochure down on the counter. "I told you I'm not going to a nursing home," she said. "You nodded. You said you understood. Was that a lie?" "It's not a nursing home," I said. "Assisted living is different. It's an apartment with help available. You'd have your own things, your own space, people checking on you. I could sleep at night without wondering if you're on the floor." My voice cracked on that last part. She heard it. Her face softened for half a second. Then she hardened again. "So this is about you sleeping at night," she said. "Not about me." "That's not fair," I said. "I'm trying to keep you alive." "I am alive," she said. "Right here, in my house, where I have lived for almost 50 years. Where your father and I built a life. You think I want to die in some hallway that smells like bleach and jello?" "It's not like that," I said. "Have you even seen an assisted living recently? They have gardens, activities. You'd meet people. You're lonely here." She drew herself up. "I am not lonely," she said. "I have my books, my shows, my garden, my memories." I stepped closer. "Mum," I said softly, "you told me last week you didn't remember how you got that bruise on your arm. You told me the neighbour found you in the yard. You told me—" "I tell you things," she interrupted, "because you're my daughter, not because I want you to use them as evidence to lock me away." I flinched. "Lock you away," I repeated. "That's not what this is." "Then what is it?" she demanded. "Say it plain, Sarah. You think I need assisted living. You think I am not safe in my own house. Just say it." The words clogged my throat. I looked at her, at the stubborn set of her jaw, at the tiny tremor in her hand, at the garden soil still under her nails from the life she refuses to give up. "Yes," I whispered. "I think you might need assisted living, or at least more help. I think aging at home is not safe the way things are now. I think I'm scared all the time. I think I can't be everything you need, and everything my kids need, and everything my job needs." Her face went white. There it was, out loud, the thing I wasn't supposed to say. "The truth," she said slowly, "is that you want to put me away because I make your life inconvenient." I felt slapped. "That is not true," I said, louder than I meant to. "I love you. I drive here after work. I take you to every doctor appointment. I answer every call. I have guilt so deep it keeps me awake at night. This is not about convenience. This is about survival." "For you," she said. "For both of us," I said. "For all of us. For my kids, too. They need a mother who is not constantly on edge waiting for the next emergency." Her mouth twisted. "There it is," she said bitterly. "I am the emergency. I am the burden. I shook my head, tears spilling. You are my mother, I said. You are the person who raised me, who loved me, who taught me everything. You are not a burden, but your falls are. Your refusal to consider help is. She stared at me. I never wanted to be this for you, she said quietly. I never wanted to be something you had to manage. I thought I was doing you a favor by staying in my house and taking care of myself. My voice softened. Needing help is not failing, I said. For you or for me. She looked away. I don't know how to be old, she said in a small voice. I don't know how to be the one causing trouble. It hit me then. Beneath all the stubbornness, all the talk about dignity and independence, there was a terrified woman who did not know how to ask for help, without feeling like she was being erased. I stepped closer and took her hand. Neither do I said. I don't know how to be the one making decisions about my mother's life. I don't know how to be the one who says, it's time. I don't want that power. But I also don't want you to die on those stairs because we were too scared to say the words assisted living out loud. She squeezed my hand once, hard. Then she pulled away. We are not talking about this anymore today, she said, voice shaking. You brought that brochure into my kitchen without asking. You ambushed me. I don't trust your motives right now. The words stung. Fine, I said. We'll talk later. I picked up my purse. I have to go, I said. Lily has a school play. I promised I'd be there. Her voice was cold. Don't let me keep you from your real family, she said. I froze in the doorway. My real family, I repeated. We both knew she meant the people you haven't failed yet. I left without kissing her goodbye. In the car, I slammed my hands on the steering wheel and shouted into the empty air. I am trying, I said out loud to no one. I am trying so hard. Then I wiped my eyes, fixed my makeup in the rearview mirror, and went to clap for my daughter in a school cafeteria, my chest half a world away, in a small kitchen with an angry old woman and a glossy brochure on the counter. Chapter 5. Sandwich Generation Extra Crispy. The night after the brochure fight, my husband found me sitting on the kitchen floor. The kids were in bed, the dishes were done, the house was quiet. I was leaning against the cabinet, knees pulled up, staring at the dishwasher like it might give me answers. Hey, Tom said gently. You okay? I laughed, the brittle kind. I just got told I don't love my mother because I don't want her to die on the stairs, I said. So, great. He slid down next to me, shoulder to shoulder. How bad was it? He asked. I told him. About the brochure, about real family, about burden. He winced. Ouch, he said. She really said that? Word for word, I said. I can still feel it. He was quiet for a minute. You know she doesn't mean that, he said. She meant it in that moment, I said, and honestly, there's a part of me that believes her. He turned to look at me. What do you mean? He asked. I picked at a spot on the tile. I mean, I said slowly, I feel like I'm failing someone all the time. When I'm with Mum, I'm not with the kids. When I'm with the kids, I'm not checking on Mum. When I'm at work, I'm not with either. There's always somebody getting the short end of me. He nodded. You're the sandwich generation, babe, he said. Stuck between an aging parent and little kids. Extra crispy. I snorted. Funny, I said. I feel more overcooked. He nudged my shoulder. You know what I see, he said. I see a woman who answers every call from her mother, who drives across town at the drop of a hat, who sits in hospital ERs and still shows up for PTO meetings and soccer games. I see someone doing the job of 3 people in a system that assumes there's always a daughter at home to take care of mum. His voice softened. And I see that daughter trying to keep her mother out of assisted living because she knows her mother's heart, he said, while knowing deep down that maybe assisted living is the safest option. That's a brutal place to stand. Tears welled up. I don't want to be the villain in her story, I whispered. The one who put her somewhere. You're not the villain, he said. You're the main character. She is too. And the villain is all of this. He gestured vaguely at the air. The housing market, healthcare, the way we treat old age in this country, he said. The idea that a 78-year-old has to either live alone in a house with stairs or be put away somewhere. No in between, no nuance. It's not that simple, I said. I know, he said, which is why you need help. More than just me saying, you're doing great on the kitchen floor. I rested my head on his shoulder. I talked to her doctor, I said. He gave me a brochure, told me to consider assisted living. I feel like I'm cheating on her just thinking about it. You're not, he said. You're doing what responsible adults do. Looking at options. That's what you'd tell one of your clients. He was right. I work in community outreach for a local nonprofit. I spend my days connecting families to resources, telling overwhelmed caregivers that asking for help is not failure, that assisted living can be a tool, not a prison. It's easier to say those words to strangers than to your own mother. My brother thinks grab bars and prayers are enough, I muttered. Tom chuckled. Mark means well, he said. He just lives 3 time zones away. It's easy to believe in aging at home when you're not the one cleaning up after the falls. He paused. Have you told him how bad it's gotten? He asked. Really told him? I hesitated. I don't want him to feel guilty, I said. Tom gave me a look. So you're hoarding the guilt for both of you, he said. How generous. I laughed through a sniffle. I hate when you're right, I said. Love when I'm right, he said. Text him, set up a call. Use words like assisted living and I can't do this alone. He's your sibling, not a donor you're trying not to scare off. I leaned my head back against the cabinet. Tomorrow, I said. Tonight, I just want to sit here and pretend I'm not someone's default caregiver. He slipped his hand into mine. For 10 minutes, he said. Then we're going to bed, because the sandwich generation also needs sleep, apparently. We sat there in silence. 2 middle-aged parents in a modest kitchen, pressed between children and an aging parent, with no manual and too many pamphlets. Somewhere across town, my mother slept alone in a house that no longer fit her as well as she thought it did. We were all clinging to some version of home that was slipping through our fingers. Chapter 6. The Sibling Summit. We scheduled a Zoom call with Mark for Sunday afternoon. We need to talk about Mum, I texted him. Real talk, not just how's the weather. He sent back a thumbs up and a gif of a cartoon with its hair on fire. It felt appropriate. I sat at my dining table with my laptop. Tom hovered in the kitchen, doing dishes but staying close. When Mark's face popped up on the screen, my chest twisted. He looked tired. older than the last time I saw him in person. "Hey sis," he said. "You look not great." "Thanks," I said dryly. "You look like someone whose mother lives 2,000 miles away." He winced. "Guilt right out of the gate," he said. "We're doing this, huh?" "We are," I said. "I need you to hear me without brushing it off this time." His smile faded. "Okay," he said. "I'm listening." I took a breath. "Mum fell again," I said. "That makes 3 falls in 6 months. She forgot her meds for 3 days. She left the stove on. The doctor told us we need to consider more support, home health, maybe assisted living." He frowned. "I thought the last fall was just a fluke," he said. "You didn't say it was 3. "I didn't want to freak you out," I said. "Well," he said, "consider me freaked." I laughed, then swallowed it. "I've been trying to respect her wish to age at home," I said. "But aging at home is starting to look like aging dangerously. And I'm the one who gets the calls. I'm the one who drives to the ER. I'm the one the doctor looks at when he says, 'You need a plan.'" He looked down. "I'm sorry," he said quietly. "I've been hands off. Because I'm far away. Because it's easier. I didn't want to believe she was declining. I still picture her the way she was when we were kids." "We don't have that luxury," I said. "The kids and I, Tom, we see her now. She's still Mum. She's still sharp sometimes. But she's also slipping." He nodded slowly. "What do you want to do?" he asked. I stared at the screen. "I don't know," I said honestly. "Part of me wants to honour her wish to age at home as long as humanly possible. Part of me wants to put her in the safest assisted living facility tomorrow. Part of me wants to run away and let someone else decide." He sighed. "I've been reading a little," he said, "after your text, about assisted living and aging in place and all that. Seems like there's no perfect option." "There isn't," I said. "Assisted living is expensive. Some places are great, some are not. Home care is expensive too. And none of it solves the emotional part of Mum thinks she's being abandoned." He rubbed his temples. "Okay," he said. "Here's what I can do. I can fly in for a long weekend. We can tour some assisted living places together. Get real numbers. See if there's anything that feels like a compromise. And maybe we can all sit down with Mum and talk like grown-ups, instead of you being the bad guy alone." "Thank you," I said, relief washing over me so hard I almost cried. "I should have come sooner," he said. "I shouldn't have left you to do this by yourself." "You had your hands full too," I said. "Teenagers, job, life. That's the American family drama, right? We all live far apart and pretend we can be everywhere at once." He smiled sadly. "Guess we're the aging parents and adult children cliché now," he said. "Congratulations," I said. "It comes with anxiety and brochures." Tom chose that moment to walk behind me. "Hey, Mark," he said, waving. "Tell your sister she's not a monster for looking at assisted living." "You're not a monster," Mark said automatically. "There," Tom said. "Therapeutic triangulation complete." We all laughed. Then we picked dates. We made a Google Doc, because of course we did, with a list of assisted living facilities within a 30-minute drive of Mum's house. Places with words like gardens and village and manor in their names. We added columns for cost, distance, care level, pets allowed. We were building a spreadsheet for our mother's possible next home. It felt surreal. It also felt like forward motion. Like we were stepping out of the endless loop of "Mum wants to age at home" and "I think she needs assisted living," and actually doing something in between. When we signed off, Mark looked straight into the camera. "Hey, Sarah," he said. "We'll figure this out. Together. You're not alone in this anymore." I nodded, throat tight. After the call, I went to the fridge and pulled out the assisted living brochure. I smoothed the creases from where it had been slammed on my mother's counter. "We're not there yet," I whispered. "But we might be close." The next step would be the hardest. Getting my mother to step through those polished double doors to see for herself. Chapter 7. The Tour. We did not tell her it was an assisted living tour at first. We told her it was lunch. "Your brother's coming in this weekend," I said on the phone. "We thought we could all go out. There's a place that has a nice dining room. They let visitors eat there. It's near you." "That sounds fancy," she said. "Are we celebrating something?" "Surviving the last 6 months," I said. "That's something." She chuckled. "True," she said. "Okay, as long as I don't have to wear heels. Those days are over." Mark flew in on Friday night. He stayed with us, the kids climbing all over him like he was a jungle gym. On Saturday morning, we drove to Mum's together. She hugged him like she could fold him back into childhood. "Look at you," she said. "You're getting grey. Serves you right." He laughed. "Good to see you too, Ma," he said. We piled into 2 cars. I drove with Mum, Mark and Tom followed. As we pulled into the parking lot of Oakwood Gardens Senior Living, my mother's eyes narrowed. "This looks like one of those places from the brochure," she said. "It is," I said honestly. "They have a nice restaurant. We're just having lunch and looking around. No one's signing anything today." She crossed her arms. "I didn't agree to a sales pitch," she said. "You agreed to lunch," I said. "Let's start there." Inside, it looked nice, not like the horror stories. A bright lobby with big windows. A receptionist who greeted my mother by name once I'd checked in on the tour sheet. "Welcome, Ms. Whitman," she said. "Your daughter said it's your first time here. Please come in. Lunch is in the Magnolia dining room." Magnolia, of course. We walked past a group of residents playing cards in a lounge. Most looked older than my mother. Some looked younger. One woman in a blue sweater smiled at my mum. "Cute purse," she said. "Thank you," Mum said automatically, hand going to the purse she'd had since I was in college. In the dining room, a host seated us at a table with white tablecloths and small vases of flowers. Mum eyed the menu. "They have salmon," she said, sounding grudgingly impressed. "And it's not Jell-O." "See?" Mark said, lightly. "Already better than you imagined." A marketing director named Karen joined us. She was in her 50s, with kind eyes and a practiced calm you only get from talking to anxious families all day. "I'm just here to answer questions," she said. "No pressure. We like people to see what aging at home can look like when you have help built in." She used the phrase aging at home on purpose. I saw my mother's ears perk. "This isn't home," Mum said. "This is a hotel." Karen smiled. "For some people, it feels like that," she said. "For others, it becomes home. You bring your own furniture, your own photos. You have your own apartment. You lock your own door. You can cook if you want, or you can let us do the dishes." Mum sniffed. "I like my own dishes," she said. "Of course," Karen said. "We're not here to argue. We're here to show you that if, someday, you decide you want more support, you don't have to go to a facility. You can go to a community." Throughout lunch, residents came and went. An older man stopped to say hello. He used to work at the same factory as my dad. A woman invited my mother to movie night on Tuesdays. Mum asked suspicious questions about cost, rules, independence. "Can I have my own car?" she demanded at one point. "Many of our residents still drive," Karen said. "We just recommend regular check-ins with your doctor. And we have transportation if you ever decide you don't want to deal with snow." "You're not taking my license," Mum muttered. "No one's taking anything today," Karen said gently. After lunch, we toured an apartment. It wasn't big, but it was nice. Sunny window, small kitchen, bathroom with a walk-in shower and grab bars that didn't look completely institutional. "This could be your living room," I said quietly, imagining her floral couch here instead of in the split-level trap of her current house. Mum walked around, touching counters, opening cabinets. "Feels like a hotel room," she said. "What do you think, Mark?" I asked. He looked around thoughtfully. "If I had to move Dad somewhere when he was sick," he said slowly, "I wouldn't have minded a place like this." Mum bristled. "I'm not your father," she said. "I'm not sick. I'm just old." "Old and falling," Mark said, more gently than it sounded. She shot him a look. "You two are ganging up on me," she said. I stepped closer. "No," I said. "We're trying to learn, to be ready, so that if you ever decide you don't want to manage the stairs and the stove and the snow alone, we're not scrambling." She was quiet for a moment. We all stood in the little living room, the four of us, an almost typical American family, frozen on the edge of a decision we weren't making yet. "This is not my home," she said finally. "I know," I said. "Your home is your house, on Maple Street, with the garden." She nodded. "I want to age at home," she said stubbornly. I nodded too. "I know," I repeated. "And maybe this is never the right place. But can you file it away as a safety net? Not a threat, an option." She looked at me. Really looked. "I don't like you looking at me like I'm already halfway out the door," she said. "I'm looking at you like I love you," I said. "And like I'm tired of walking on a tightrope without a net." She sighed. "You're very dramatic," she said. "So are you," I said. Karen came back in, sensing the emotional temperature. "Well," she said brightly, "any questions? Again, no rush. Some people come look years before they make a decision. Some never move in. We're here if you need us." She handed my mother a simple folder. Inside was a one-page sheet. No photos, no marketing fluff, just bullet points. Private apartments, 24-hour staff on site, emergency call system, meals, housekeeping, activities, independence with support. My mother slipped it into her purse like something indecent. On the drive home, she was unusually quiet. Finally, she said, "That woman in the blue sweater seemed happy." "The one who liked your purse?" I said. "Yes," she said. She said her daughter made her move there after she fell. She said she was mad at first. Now she says she doesn't miss worrying about the stairs. I kept my eyes on the road. "What do you think?" I asked carefully. She stared out the window. "I think I'm not ready," she said. "But I also think maybe I won't be as ready as I imagine when the time comes." It was the smallest crack in the armour, but it was there. Chapter 8. The Night on the Floor. It happened 2 months later on a Tuesday, because of course it was a Tuesday. Emergencies love Tuesdays. I was in the middle of bath time with my kids when my phone rang. The ringtone I use for my mother, a vintage rotary dial sound she chose because it's proper, sliced through the sound of splashing and arguing. I wiped my hands on a towel and grabbed the phone. It wasn't her. It was her neighbour, Trish. "Sarah," she said, voice tight. "I think your mum fell again." My heart lurched. "What do you mean, you think?" I asked, already walking out of the bathroom, signalling to Tom frantically. "She called me on her house phone," Trish said. "Said she slipped in the hallway. She sounds shaky. She told me not to call you, which is why I'm calling you." That was all I needed. "I'm on my way," I said. "Call 911 if she sounds worse. I'll call them too." Tom appeared in the hallway. "Go," he said. "I've got the kids." I kissed both wet heads in the tub, promised I'd be back, and grabbed my keys. On the drive over, my hands shook so badly, I had to grip the steering wheel like it might anchor me. Images flooded my brain. My mother on the floor, her hip at a wrong angle, her eyes scared. When I opened her front door, she was where Trish had said, on the hallway carpet between the kitchen and the living room, lying on her side, one shoe off, robe half open. Her face was pale. "Mum," I breathed, dropping to my knees. "Don't you dare call an ambulance," she said immediately. I almost laughed from sheer relief. "If you can bark orders, you're not dead," I said. "That's something." She managed a weak smile. "I lost my balance," she said. "Stupid rug." The rug we'd talked about removing 10 times. The rug with sentimental value. I swallowed. "Can you move your legs?" I asked. She tried, winced. "No," she said. "They hurt. A lot." I took a breath. "Okay," I said. "Then we're calling 911. This is not up for debate." She closed her eyes. "You promised you wouldn't put me away," she whispered. "This is not that," I said firmly. "This is emergency care. We will fight about assisted living later. Right now, we're fighting about broken bones." By the time the paramedics arrived, Trish had joined us, hovering in the doorway. "Again," she murmured. "Oh, Elaine." They loaded my mother onto a stretcher. She gripped my hand so hard, my fingers went numb. "Please don't leave me," she said, voice suddenly small. "I'm right here," I said. "I'm not going anywhere." In the ambulance, sirens wailing, I watched her chest rise and fall. I thought about all the times she'd rushed me to the ER when I was little. The time I broke my arm falling off the monkey bars. The time I had a fever so high I hallucinated. I remember her face then. Determined, scared, holding it together because I needed her to. Now our positions were reversed. At the hospital, X-rays confirmed it. A fractured hip. The phrase I'd been dreading. "We'll admit her," the doctor said. "She'll need surgery tomorrow. After that, we'll talk about rehab." Rehab. Which often leads to that other phrase. You can't safely go back home alone. She was groggy from pain meds when they wheeled her into a room. I sat in the plastic chair by the bed. After the nurse left, she looked at me. "Don't let them send me to a nursing home," she said. My throat closed. "Mum," I whispered, "you fell in your hallway. If Trish hadn't called, if you hadn't reached the phone—" "I know," she said softly. Her eyes filled. "I lay there for a while," she admitted. "Couldn't get up. I thought, this is it. This is how old ladies die. On the floor because they're stubborn." A sob escaped her. "I was scared," she said, really scared. I reached for her hand. So was I said. So am I, all the time. We sat there, both crying, the beeping of monitors the only sound between us for a minute. I don't want to leave my house, she said in a shaky voice. But I don't want this again. I don't want this again either, I said. She sniffled. I kept thinking about that little apartment we saw, she murmured, at that place, with the magnolia dining room, the one with the lady who liked my purse. Oakwood Gardens, I said. Yes, she said. I kept thinking, if I'd been there, maybe someone would have come sooner. Maybe I wouldn't have been on the floor so long. But then I thought, I promised myself I would age at home. I would not give up my house. I would not be a burden. I squeezed her hand. I think we need to talk about what home means, I said softly, and what burden means. After surgery, when your head is clearer, not tonight. She nodded, eyes closing. I'm tired, she whispered. Rest, I said. I'll be right here when you wake up. As she drifted off, I looked at her face. Lines I'd never noticed before. A fragility I'd been trying not to see. I think she needs assisted living, I thought, the words like a confession. But I also think she needs to feel like she's not being thrown away. For the first time, those two thoughts felt like they might belong in the same sentence. Chapter 9. Redefining Home. The meeting with the hospital social worker happened 3 days after the surgery. Mum was propped up in bed, looking frailer than I'd ever seen her, but more lucid. Mark had flown in again and sat on the other side of the bed. The social worker, Maria, had kind eyes and a folder full of forms. So, she said gently, your mum did well in surgery. Now we have to plan for discharge. Mum perked up. Discharge, she said. Good, I can go home. Maria smiled. That's one option, she said carefully. But with a hip fracture and your recent falls, we strongly recommend a period of rehab. That could be in a skilled nursing facility or in assisted living with rehab support. After that, we'd need to assess if going back to your house alone is safe. I'll do rehab here, Mum said. Then go home. I have a garden. Her voice cracked on garden. Maria looked at me and Mark. What are your thoughts? She asked. I took a breath. Honestly, I said, I'm scared to take her back to the house. Even with grab bars and home health. I'm the closest one. I work full-time, I have kids. I can't be there enough. And she keeps falling. Mark nodded. I agree, he said. I'm far away, but I don't want my sister bearing all of this. I think we need to seriously consider assisted living. Maybe Oakwood Gardens. We toured it. Mum glared. I am not moving into a facility because you two are scared, she said. It's not just about us being scared, I said gently. It's about you being safe. Maria leaned forward. Ms. Whitman, she said, can I ask what home means to you? Mum blinked. That's a strange question, she said. Home is my house, my bed, my porch, my garden, my things. Maria nodded. For a lot of people, home is a building, she said. But sometimes, as we get older, home has to shift a little to keep us safe inside of it. There's a phrase some people use now, aging in the right place, instead of just aging in place. It means finding the place where you can have the most independence with the right support. Mum snorted. Is that assisted living marketing talk? She asked. Maria smiled. It's gerontology talk, she said. I've seen a lot of families try to force aging at home to work when the house itself is working against them. Stairs, bathtubs, long hallways. Sometimes moving to assisted living actually lets people keep more independence longer because they're not constantly recovering from falls. Mum shifted under the blanket. I don't want to feel put away, she whispered. You don't have to, Maria said. You can be part of this decision. You can choose the place. You can decide what home looks like now. The only thing we're saying is the status quo, living alone in a split level with a history of falls, is no longer safe. She turned to me and Mark. And you two, she said, need to know that keeping your mum in that house out of guilt does not make you better children. It just makes everyone more at risk. My eyes stung. She says she doesn't want to be a burden, I said. I am a burden, Mum muttered. Look at this. Leg broken, you running around, Mark flying in, hospital bills. It's all because I'm old and stubborn. Maria shook her head. You're a person, she said. People get old. People need help. Needing help doesn't make you a burden. It makes you human. She looked at me. Caregivers love that word, burden, she said. They hate feeling resentful, so they swallow it until they explode. Or they push themselves past breaking to prove they can do it all. That doesn't honour your mother. That dishonours your limits. I nodded, tears spilling over. I don't want to resent her, I whispered. I love her. I just can't do this alone. Mum reached for my hand clumsily. You shouldn't have to, she said. I didn't mean to make you feel like... She trailed off, searching for words. Like you're failing if you put me somewhere. I was thinking about my mother. How she cried when my aunt took her to a nursing home. How she said she felt thrown away. She looked at me fiercely. I don't want to feel thrown away, she said. But I also don't want you to feel crushed. Mark cleared his throat. Maybe we can find something in the middle, he said. Not thrown away, not crushed. He glanced at me. Oakwood Gardens had that rehab program, right? He said. What if we moved her there after the hospital, for rehab, with the option to stay in assisted living if it feels right? Not a forever prison sentence, a trial. I looked at Mum. Her jaw clenched. That's how they get you, she said. Trials. Maria chuckled. Sometimes, she said. But also, sometimes people realise they sleep better when there's a nurse down the hall. Their kids sleep better too. And if you hate it, Ms. Whitman, you can say so. You can demand we look at other options. No one is taking away your voice. Mum stared at the blanket. I thought aging at home meant staying in my house no matter what, she said quietly. I thought if I left it, I was betraying your father and myself. And I thought if I went to assisted living, it meant you didn't want me. Her voice broke. It never occurred to me, she whispered, that it might mean you want me for longer. I squeezed her hand hard. I want you, I said. I want you alive. I want you as safe as we can manage. I want to be your daughter, not your constant emergency contact. I want my kids to have a grandmother who can come to their school plays, not just someone we visit in the hospital. She looked up at me, eyes wet. I don't know how to do this, she said. To choose something that feels like giving up, even if it's not. I don't either, I said. But we can learn together. We can pick a place together. We can decorate the apartment together, if we go that route. Nothing about this has to be done to you. It can be done with you. Silence hung in the room. Finally, she took a shaky breath. "I'll go," she said. "To rehab. At that Oakwood place. On one condition." "What condition?" I asked. She lifted her chin. "You don't call it putting me somewhere," she said. "You call it moving house. Like people do when they go to a condo or a smaller place. I am not being stored. I am moving house." I laughed through tears. "Deal," I said. "You're moving house, on your own terms, with our help." Maria smiled. "I'll start the paperwork," she said. "And I'll put in big letters. Patient wants to age with dignity. Family wants safety. Plan, assisted living that supports both." As she left, Mum squeezed my hand. "I'm still mad at you for the brochure," she said. "I know," I said. "I'm also relieved," she admitted. "Mostly at night, when I think about the stairs." "I'm relieved too," I said. "Mostly in the car, when my phone rings and I don't know what it's going to say." We sat there, holding hands. Two women at opposite ends of life's arc, finally agreeing that maybe home could be more than one address. Chapter 10. Aging with Dignity. Moving took less time than I expected, and more emotional energy than anything I've ever done. We packed up her favourites first: the floral couch, the rocking chair that had held babies and grandbabies, her research, as she called it, books and photo albums, and the box of letters Dad had written her when they were young. We did not sell the house, not yet. "That's a bridge we cross later," Mark said. "One crisis at a time." Oakwood Gardens set up her apartment like a little version of her living room. When we brought her in from rehab, the staff had put fresh flowers on the table. "Welcome home, Ms. Whitman," Karen said. Mum muttered, "We'll see." But I saw her shoulders relax a fraction. The first night, I stayed until visiting hours ended. She sat in her new chair, looking around. "I feel like I'm in a hotel," she said. "A hotel where they bring your meds on time and check if you fall," I said. She shot me a look. "Don't push it," she said. I grinned. "Sorry," I said. "Too soon." Over the next weeks, we fell into a new rhythm. I visited her after work a few times a week. The kids came on weekends, racing down the hallway shouting, "Grandma!" until I shushed them. She learned the nurses' names. She discovered the soup was good and the coffee was terrible. She joined a book club that met in the library. "This woman told me her daughter lives in Florida and her son never visits," she told me one day. "I wanted to show her your pictures and say, 'Look, some kids still show up.'" I smiled. "Some of us," I said. "Most of us are just doing our best." There were bittersweet moments. The day we realised she would never again sleep in the Maple Street house. The first time she said, "Take that box to my apartment," and meant Oakwood, not the house. The day we put a "for sale" sign on the lawn, we cried in the driveway. "I thought I'd die here," she said, looking at the house. "You'll live longer somewhere else," I said. She nodded. "I know," she said. "It still hurts." We let it hurt. We didn't rush past it. We walked through the empty rooms together. She told stories, where the Christmas tree always went, where I took my first steps, where she and Dad had their worst fight, their best reconciliation. "This was home," she said. "It still is," I said. "In your head, in your stories. Those don't get sold." At Oakwood, she started calling her apartment my place. She invited her friends from church to see it. She even bragged a little about the activities. "They have chair yoga," she said one afternoon, half amused. I thought it was stupid. Then my back stopped hurting as much. One evening, I came by unannounced and found her in the lounge, playing cards with the woman in the blue sweater and two men who were arguing about baseball. She spotted me, waved. "Sarah," she called. "This is my daughter, the one who moved me house." They all smiled. I joined them for a game. Later, in her apartment, she said, "You know what the best part is?" "What?" I asked. "If I drop something, someone is around," she said simply. "If I feel dizzy, I press a button and a person comes. Not a neighbour who might hear me, a person who is supposed to come." Tears pricked my eyes. "I sleep better too," I said, knowing that. She looked at me. "I was so afraid," she said softly. "Afraid of being trapped. Afraid of being forgotten. Afraid assisted living meant waiting to die." "And now?" I asked. She shrugged. "Now I'm just old in a smaller place," she said, "with more people around. It's not my house, but it's not hell." I laughed. "That's a ringing endorsement," I said. She smiled. "It's not home the way I thought I wanted," she said. "But maybe home is also where my daughter can visit without a knot in her stomach. Where my grandchildren can come and not trip over oxygen cords. Where I can complain about the coffee with other old ladies who get it." She took my hand. "I wanted to age at home," she said. "But what I really wanted was to age with dignity. To not feel like a burden. To not be terrified all the time. I didn't know assisted living could help with that." I squeezed her fingers. "I thought putting you in assisted living would make me a bad daughter," I said. "I thought if I were better, stronger, more devoted, I'd find a way to keep you in your house forever. Now I see that being a good daughter sometimes means changing the plan." We sat there in comfortable silence. Down the hall, someone's TV played a game show. A nurse laughed at a joke in the distance. It sounded weirdly like life. Not waiting. Living. On the drive home, my phone buzzed. It was a group text from Mark. "How's Mum doing today?" I sent a photo I'd snapped of her at lunch. Lipstick on, eyes bright, gesturing with her fork as she told a story. "She's okay," I wrote. "Aging. Safely. In assisted living, aka aging at home 2.0, he replied with a heart emoji. At home, Lily met me at the door. "How's Grandma's new house?" she asked. "It's good," I said. "She has friends. And grab bars." Lily wrinkled her nose. "What are grab bars?" she asked. "Things that help you not fall," I said. She considered this. "I like that," she said. Me too, I thought. If you're listening to this because your mum wants to age at home and you think she needs assisted living, here's what I can tell you from inside the story. You are not evil for wanting her safe. You are not a failure for feeling tired. You are not alone in the space between home and facility. There are options. They are not perfect. They are also not the enemy. Fear is. Silence is. My mother aged at home for as long as it was truly safe. When it wasn't, we found a new home. Smaller walls, more help. Same woman, same love. She did not stop being my mother when she moved into assisted living. If anything, I got her back. Not as an emergency to manage, but as a person I could sit with, laugh with, and say goodbye to in little pieces without that terrifying knock on the door in the middle of the night. Mum wants to age at home, I used to say. I think she needs assisted living. Now I say, my mum wanted to age with dignity. We found a place that lets her do that. And I'm finally learning how to live too.